I just send out the most heartfelt appeal. Please do not cross roads that is flooded and do not jump into these waters. We need no more timely reminder than the shocking tragedies last night that this water is deadly and it's not to be played with.
There have been reports of freezes and large objects floating down the river near Coronation Drive as well. People around Brisbane should be careful with projectiles as well, things like that.
Oh, certainly, and we know that in the last couple of weeks there have been times, because of the debris coming down the Brisbane River even, that the City Cat service has to be suspended, and that's done by the Brisbane City Council. So anywhere where there are floodwaters, people do not know what's under that surface. It could be anything. As the Premier said, we're pleading to people, do not become a statistic. There is no need to go into this floodwater. As we've said all the way along, we can replace fridges, freezers, houses. We just cannot replace people.
Jeff, the rain today that we're seeing, is that likely to produce another super rainstorm or anything like that?
The simple answer is no. As I think I said before, I can reassure people that it's very unlikely we'll see an event of this magnitude again, particularly in the short like this season. However, there is a fairly decent rain band at the moment between the Sunshine Coast and the Granite Belt, and we are monitoring that very closely. We're getting reports in that rain band of up to 80 millimetres an hour, and we do have the standard emergency warning signal turned on. We do expect, though, that this particular rain band will be the last in the series. Once we see this weaken in the next few hours, we should then enter a period where we just generally see the rain easing over southeast Queensland, and tomorrow should be a much better day than today.
Is that right for Brisbane as well?
That's correct.
It could be worse for us tomorrow.
Sorry?
I thought we were looking at possible worse conditions tomorrow.
Not weather-wise, just a shower or two or a few showers for the rest of the week.
And Jim, the incident in Murphy Creek, is that making you look at things differently and perhaps put out warnings more quickly, even if it isn't as much rain as what you initially think?
Well, we issue warnings always as quickly as we can, and as I think I explained, this one was different. This super rainstorm, it was something which any forecaster in the world may not have issued a warning for. So it was exceptional. But at the same time, I should add that, like all events of this nature, we will be reviewing the situation in partnership with our colleagues, our state government colleagues and the like, and looking at ways that perhaps we might improve the warning system in the future. But every now and again, very rarely, we might see something like this happen. It's unfortunate. Hopefully in the future the computer models will be run at tighter resolution, and these sort of very local features will be picked up. Thank you.
We've had a number of incidents overnight that we're now looking at declaring, rather than local government areas, a significant region of Queensland as a disaster zone. So we'll advise you a little further this morning. We're just looking for an appropriate northern line, and everything south of that will just be declared, because we expect to see, as I said, over the next few days, not only Toowoomba but Warwick, Stanthorpe, Condamine and other areas back into the disaster range. I should say that we do expect to see both, in terms of things getting worse, and you might have been thinking about what we said yesterday, Kathy. What we're expecting is that Ipswich, over the next 24 hours, is likely to start to see the waters peaking, and in the Brisbane area, Wednesday, Thursday will be the time when we see the waters hit their high mark for this week. So over the next 2 to 3 days, Ipswich and Brisbane will be our high water areas here in the southeast, but equally we've got a number of places in the southwest where we anticipate evacuations and continued problems in some small and quiet communities. I'm double checking that for you, but I suspect yes.
15 to 18 metres in Ipswich, do you have any modelling of how many homes would be inundated there?
No, the Ipswich City Council is doing that work at the moment. Clearly there are many more parts of Ipswich that have been settled since 1974, or since we've seen rivers at that height. The current hydrology indicates that we we will expect to see 16 metres. The rise from 16 to 18 will depend very much on the rainfall. And as you've just heard from Jim, that's not entirely clear because the catchment that's feeding this is not just here in Brisbane, it's way up into the Lockyer Valley. So what's happened to the flash flooding in the Lockyer River is now turning into a significant river flood as it gathers strength and coming down that system.
And are you looking at problems with getting supplies into that Lockyer Valley or Valley region at this stage? Like the people in Grantham, the 30 or so there, do they have food or what's the situation?
We've got challenges getting into a number of these communities, getting our emergency personnel in and getting supplies in. And yes, they will be issues that we have got. This is our number one priority this morning, and we have an entire strategic team in the major incident room with the Queensland Police working on these issues. We also anticipate that we may see supply issues into parts of central and northern Queensland, given that we have now seen cuts to the inland highway that was taking supplies as an alternative to the Bruce Highway. So we've got quite a lot of work ahead of us ensuring basic supplies logistically into a number of those communities.
There is a fair amount of panic, I think, for Brisbane now. How many homes do you know? How many homes could stand to be affected when it peaks tomorrow?
The Brisbane Local Disaster Management Group are meeting at 10 a.m. this morning. The purpose of that meeting is to look at the new data and advise people accordingly. So in the interests of accuracy, I think it's important that we wait until the Lord Mayor and the Local Disaster Management Peer in Brisbane meets for the first time this morning. I do think that it's important to understand that without Wivenhoe, we would have this a very significant flood in Brisbane right now. That dam is keeping that 1,200 megalitres, a million litres a day off and out of our streets. But the circumstances with this continued rainfall are putting pressure on all parts of that system. So there's no need to panic in Brisbane, but there is a need to get good, accurate information and listen to the bulletins. This is a changing situation, but one that is being managed.
Are you happy with how emergency services handled the situation? We had sort of emergency services in the chopper that we had for a long time, looking for those people on top of the roofs before they could actually get there themselves.
We will have a total review of all of the disaster response over for this entire event. Given what's happened in the Toowoomba and Lockyer Valley, that review will have a particular focus on that event. But I have to say the extreme nature of this event, the rapid escalation of it in a very short period of time did require every effort to be made, and I recognise that in some cases news helicopters were also being used. That is, I think, an appropriate response, and I thank those news helicopters who made them available. This was an all hands on deck, no questions asked, get in and do whatever you can event, and that's what we saw. There are people alive today because of that attitude that prevailed yesterday evening, and I thank everybody who was part of it and assisted in any way in any of those rescues. As I said, and you saw it last night, it happened so quickly. It was every hand to the wheel, and I'm very pleased that we managed to get so many people, 43 rooftop rescues, many of them at night time, done overnight. It's very heartening to see that sort of response, and as I said, many acts of courage and bravery behind every one of those rescues.
What are your plans for today now?
I'm here today working with the Disaster Management Coordinating Group. It had been my intention to try and get into these areas. That's not possible. This is still an operational zone and it's not appropriate and not possible at this stage to get in. We expect to see potentially, we know that there are between 4 and 5 areas where the road is cut from Ipswich to Toowoomba. It's not clear that they'll be cleared for some time. Similarly, air flight into the region is not possible. But even if it was, frankly, we are still in a desperate search and rescue phase. This is not the time for me to be visiting and talking to locals. I'll do that as soon as it's appropriate.
Back on Brisbane, are we still looking at 3 metre peak tomorrow afternoon? Has that changed?
Okay, the answer to that one is the hydrologists are now working with Brisbane City Council and SEQ Water, and we do expect the next warning out very shortly. So they're recalculating because the rainfall's changing all the time, and the releases from Wivenhoe. So there's all those factors operating.
Potentially. We'll let you know. It is a rapidly changing situation. The extent of the rainfall last night has changed all of the models, and we'll be updating people as soon as we can. Thank you.